So in this video, we will look at more problems on converting NFAs to DFAs, right? In this example, we are given with an NFA. By looking at the NFA, we can identify that this is an NFA which accepts all the strings having 0, 1, 0, 1 as a substring. Because before 0, 1, you can see all combinations of strings, and after 0, 1 also you can see all combinations of 0, 1. Right, so this is an NFA for accepting all the strings with 0, 1 as a substring in it. So let's convert this NFA directly to its equivalent DFA. So we'll start with the starting state itself. So let me draw Q0. Q0 is the starting state. So if you look at Q0, then on zero you have two transitions. One goes to Q0 itself, and another one goes to Q1. So you have to write for the transition for 0 is a combination of Q0 Q1. So you have to mark that. So on 0 it goes to another state, which is Q0 Q. It is going to be Q0 Q1, right? Let me make it very clear, Q0 Q1. So this is a new state. Now what about transition of Q0? The transition of Q0 on 1, right? We have to write that also. So the transition of Q0 on 1, we have to look at the NFA diagram and identify it. Q0 on 1 goes to Q0 itself. There is no other way. Okay, so we can mark Q0 on 1 to Q0 itself. Now since we have got a new state here, that's Q0 Q1. So since we have a new state Q0 Q1 here, we have to identify its transitions now. Now to identify Q0 Q1's transition, you have to look at both Q0 and Q1, right? So let's do it. So we know that we want to identify Q0 Q1 on 0. Okay, so let me write Q0 Q1 on 0. So we want to identify. So to find this, we have to write transition of Q0 on 0 as well as Q1 on 0. Okay, so Q0 on 0, it's known to us. It's Q0 Q1 itself. And what about Q1 on 0? So here Q1 on 0 is actually not defined. So Q1 on 0 is a null set. So once you combine this, you again get Q0 Q1. Okay, so it means that Q0 Q1's transition on 0 goes to itself. So Q0 Q1's transition on 0 goes to itself. Now the next thing that we want to find is Q0 Q1 on 1, right? So to find that, you have to find Q0 on 1 and Q1 on 1. Q0 on 1 gives you Q0 itself, right? And what about Q1 on 1? Q1 on 1 has only one option. That's good. That's to Q2, right? So Q0 Q1's transition on 1 is going to you have to combine this, right? So it will be Q0 Q2. So it is going to be Q0 Q2, right? Now since Q0 Q2 that we have got now is a new state, so we have to identify its transitions. So to do so, again, Q0 Q2 on 0. Okay. Now Q0 Q2 on 0, we are interested in finding that. So Q0 on 0, we know it. It has two options, Q0 and Q1. So let me write that first. Q0 on 0 goes to Q0 Q1. And what about Q2 on 0? Okay, refer to the NFA diagram that is given to find what is Q2 on 0. Okay, so if you look at Q2 on 0 goes to Q2 itself, right? So there is no other way. Q2 on 0 goes to Q2 itself. So Q2 on 0 goes to Q2. Now to identify, we have to combine all this. Now this is going to be Q0, Q1, and Q2. So what essentially it means is that Q0 Q2 on 0 is going to be Q0 Q1 Q2. So you have to write the transition from here on 0 as Q0 Q1 Q2. So let me write it. So wait a second. Okay, Q0, Q2 on 0. So let me draw it here so that to make some space. So it is going to Q0, Q1, Q2. Right. So what about Q0, Q2 on 1? Okay, so we now have to identify Q0, Q2 on 1. Right. So we know that Q0 on 1 goes to Q0 itself. And what about Q2 on 1 from the NFA diagram? Q2 on 1 goes to Q2 itself. So that's going to be Q0, Q2. Okay, so this transition, the transition of 1 from Q, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, Q0, Q2, the transition from Q0, Q2 on 1 goes to Q0, Q2 itself, right? That's the main. Okay, now we have to identify the transitions from Q0, Q1, Q2 on 0 and on 1, right? So if you look carefully, so we know that we have to identify all this, right? So for finding Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 0, right? So we have to find all of them, Q0, Q1, and Q2. Q0 on 0, we know that it goes to Q0, Q1 on 0. Q1 on 0 not defined, right? Q1 on 0 is not defined. What about Q2 on 0? Q2 on 0 goes to Q2 itself, right? So Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 0 goes to itself, right? If you combine this, you get back Q0, Q1, Q2, right? So 0 transition from Q0, Q1, Q2 goes to itself. That's the meaning, right? And now we want to find Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 1. Okay, let me erase this again because I don't have space here. So Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 1. That's what I'm interested in. So let me erase this. Okay, let me take my eraser and erase this. Okay. So I had to write Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 1. Right. So what I'm going to do is Q0 on 1, Q1 on 1, and Q2 on 1. So Q0 on 1 goes to Q0. Q1 on 1 from the NFA diagram, it goes to Q2. And what about Q2 on 1? Q2 on 1 goes to Q2 itself. So when you combine this, again you get Q0, Q2. So your transition from Q0, Q1, Q2 on 1 goes to Q0, Q2. Okay. So have we finished everything? No, we are left with one more step, that is of marking the final states. So we know that in the given NFA, you can see that in the given NFA, Q2 is your final state. So all the states in your DFA which contains Q2 is going to be your final state. So looking at the DFA diagram, we can identify that Q0, Q2 is a state where Q2 is present. Similarly, in Q0, Q1, Q2 is a state where Q2 is present. So these two states, that is Q0, Q2 and Q0, Q1, Q2 has to be marked as final state by double circling it. So let me do this. So Q0, Q2 becomes a final state. Similarly, Q0, Q1, Q2 becomes a final state. So this is a very important step you should never forget. So usually people tend to forget the marking of final state. Even I do forget to mark the final states. So if you forget to do that, your DFA doesn't make any sense. Okay, so it's a very important step, and if you don't do that, then your DFA is invalid, right? So you have to keep this in your mind. Very importantly, you have to mark the final state. You should never forget it. Okay, so let's move on to the next problem. So the diagram given shows an NFA, right? So we had to convert this NFA to its equivalent DFA. So let's start. So we can have Q0 as our initial state. Okay, and from Q0 upon 0, you have only one choice, that is to go to Q0 itself. Okay, But on 1, you have two choices. You can either stay at Q0 or go to Q1. So on 1, you can go to Q0 Q1. You can combine Q0 and Q1 and then go to Q0 Q1. So now Q0 Q1 is a new state for you. Now to find the transitions from Q0 Q1, you have to do both. Okay, so Q0 Q1 on 0. So let me fill in these values and then continue further. So upon finding the values, you can understand that Q0 Q1 on 0 goes to a new state, that is Q0 Q2, Q0 Q2, and Q0 Q1 on 1 goes to yet another new state, that is Q0 Q1 Q2. All right. Now, since we have got with two new states, that is Q0, Q2, as well as Q0, Q1, Q2, we have to write its transitions. So let me fill in those transitions and then continue. So when we done the transitions, we are doing the transition for Q0, Q2 here. So Q0, Q2 upon 0, we got Q0. Okay, you can verify this. Okay, so let me draw the transition. Q0, Q2 on 0 gets me back to Q0. Okay, so this is my transition on 0, right? Now the transition of Q0, Q2 on 1, you can see it here. This is going to Q0, Q1. So the transition of Q0, Q2 on 1 has to be marked to Q0, Q1. So let me do it. So Q0, Q2 on 1. Okay, Q0, Q2 on 1 goes to Q0, Q1. Okay. Right. Now we are interested in finding the transitions of Q0, Q1, Q2. That's this state, right? So we have to write its transitions. Let me write it down and then fill it up. The transitions, now I've written the transitions over here, so you can refer to it. You can also try to write by yourself. Okay, so Q0, Q1, Q2 on 0, we got it as Q0, Q2. So we have to mark Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 0 back to Q0, Q2. It's like this. And similarly, Q0, Q1, Q2's transition on 1, we got it as Q0, Q1, Q2, right? So that goes to itself. So Q0, Q1, Q2 transition on 1 goes to itself. And this is your DFA, right? So again, don't forget to mark your final state, right? So here, if you look at the NFA diagram, once you look at the NFA diagram, you can understand that Q2 is the final state. So we, in our DFA, we have Q0, Q2 is a state which contains Q2. Similarly, Q0, Q1, Q2 also contains Q2. So we have to mark these two states as final states. Okay, so let me do this. So Q0, Q2, okay, so this is going to be Q0, Q2 is going to be marked as a final state, and similarly Q0, Q1, Q2 is also going to be marked as a final state. So I have to double circle this, right? So these are the final states. So that's it. We have completed it. Now, as an assignment, you can work out these three problems, right? So you can see that the transitions are defined on A, B. So assume that our alphabet set here is A, B for all the questions, right? So what you can do is that you can convert these NFAs to their equivalent DFAs. And also remember that we have witnessed all these NFAs while solving the NFA construction problems, right? Now another important thing to remember here is that you can either use the tabular approach, table method, or you can do it in the direct method. You do it using the direct method. Okay. So in both cases, if you draw the transition table, that will be good, right? So you can try this as an assignment. It will be uploaded in Moodle, and then you have to respond to it. Okay.